Hello Year 5 and Year 6, welcome back to English Lessons Live with me, Mr. Phillips. It is Tuesday the 19th, I hope you're doing alright. Today we're doing a bit of reading of this book, and it's called The List of Things That Will Not Change by Rebecca Steed. Okay, now remember, it's been a few days since we've done a reading lesson live. Go down into the the description, and find the link to this video so you can get the video. Find the link to this book so that you've got a copy of it for yourself, okay? Because that's going to be the easiest thing when we're reading it, okay? Now today is going to be slightly different because we're actually cutting out the clarify section of our read today, because the bit we're going to be reading is so big. It's quite a massive chunk. The extract we get of this book is huge, and we're going to be reading a big chunk of it, okay? Today's book handles some pretty big themes, okay? So it's a really great book, but it does handle some quite big themes. So it's really important that you're really mature about reading this book with me today. Okay, so first of all, the list of things that will not change. What do we predict this book is going to be about? Again, with all our Year 6 books, Year 5 and 6 books, we don't tend to get much clue from the title and the picture. But what I want you to do is have a little go. Remember, don't leave it blank. What do you predict this book could be about? And your only other clue is me telling you that some big themes in this book. Okay, pause the video there and have a little go at writing your prediction. I predict that. Pause the video there, off you go. Okay, so you should have a prediction written down now. Make sure you've definitely got one before you move on. I'm going to write mine down, but obviously mine's going to be completely different to yours because we have different imaginations and we think and we view things in different ways, okay? So, the list of things that will not change. And the picture is her sitting in, well, on a moon, isn't it, in the night sky. So, possibly it is about a girl who is making a list, maybe, and I don't know, is this idea of being in the sky with her? Perhaps I'm feeling, you know, I've told you it's about some big themes. Potentially it deals with the theme of death and people losing loved ones, which might be why she's kind of in the sky. So maybe it's about someone writing a list of things that won't change. Maybe because inspired by the fact that she's lost a sibling, maybe it's a sibling that they've lost. And they're going to write a list of things, you know, this can't change, you know, this massive change has happened in my life, but these things won't change. That's what I predict it's going to be about. I predict that the main character loses a loved one, possibly a sibling, and therefore makes a list of all the things in life that they don't want to change or to become different now that person is gone. So maybe it might be, if it is a sibling or something like that, maybe they don't want their room to be changed or things like that. Potentially that's what I predict it's going to be about, okay? Hopefully you've got a prediction as well. So like I said before, we are going straight on to reading this text because it is a long text. Here it is, the list of things that will not change. Beautiful cover. Now, we're actually going to skip the prologue. Obviously, you're going to have the full extract, but you don't need the prologue to understand what's going on. Okay? Now, we've got quite a few pages, so I'm just going to crack on and read it. We're not going to read the whole thing. But feel free to go and read the whole thing in your own time. Here we go. Angelica. The summer I turned 10, my cousin Angelica fell from the sleeping loft at our family's lake cabin. Uncle Frank says her head missed the wood stove by 4 inches. She hit the floor with a bad sound, a whump. Then we didn't hear anything. No crying, no yelling, nothing. Until finally there was the sound of Angelica trying to breathe. Dad got to her first. Aunt S, Angelica's mum, called from her room. "What's that? Dan, what was that?" He answered, "It's Angelica. She fell, but she's okay. She got the wind knocked out of her. But I think she's okay." From the loft, I saw Angelica sit up slowly. Dad was rubbing her back in circles. Uncle Frank and Aunt S came crashing in from their bedroom, and then Angelica started crying these short, jagged cries. The next morning, Uncle Frank said that if her head had hit the wood stove, Angelica could have died. By that time, she looked normal. She was wearing her turquoise two-piece bathing suit and chewing her eggs with her lips sealed tight. No bruises, even. She landed on her back, Dad said, which is what knocked her wind out. That summer, my parents had been divorced for 2 years already. But I still thought about when Mum used to come to the lake cabin with us. I could picture her red bathing suit on the clothesline. I remembered which end of the table she sat at for dinner. I remembered her sitting on the dock with Aunt S, talking. Mum and Dad told me about the divorce at a family meeting. I had just turned 8. We'd never had a family meeting before. I sat on the couch between them. They didn't look happy, and I suddenly got worried that something was wrong with our cat, Red. That they were going to tell me that he was dying. A boy in my class that year had a cat who died, but that wasn't it. Dad put his arm around me and said that some big things were going to change. Mum squeezed my hand. Then Dad said they were getting divorced. Soon he was going to move out of our apartment into a different one. I said, "But I'm staying here, right?" I looked at Mum. Dad said I was going to have 2 homes and 2 rooms instead of 1. I was going to live in both places. I could think of only one person in my class whose parents were divorced. Caroline Shattuck. Caroline had a navy blue sweatshirt with one big pocket in front. Until the family meeting, I'd wanted one just like it. I said, "What about Red?" Mum said Red would be staying with her. "With us. You and me." You and me. That made me feel awful, because back then I couldn't think of Mum and me without Dad. Dad said, "Things are changing, Bea. But there's still a lot you can count on, okay? Things that won't ever change." This was when they gave me the green spiral notepad and the green pen. My favourite colour is green. In the notebook, they'd made a list. The list was called Things That Will Not Change. I started reading. Mum loves you more than anything, always. 2. Dad loves you more than anything, always. I skipped to the end, uncapped the green pen and wrote, Number 7. Red will stay with me and Mum. I said, I want my rainbow to stay here too, over my bed. Dad painted the rainbow right on the wall when I was really little. Mum said, Yes, of course, sweetie. Your rainbow will stay right where it is. I wrote that down too. Number 8. Dad moved into a different apartment a month later. I go back and forth between them. Here's how it works. Monday is Dad's day. Tuesday is Mum's day. Wednesday is Dad day. Thursday is Mum's day. Friday is part of the weekend. The weekend is Friday and Saturday. The weekend alternates. Sunday is Sunday. Sunday is its own day. Sunday alternates. Before Dad moved out, I thought of the weekend as Saturday and Sunday. Now I think of the weekend as Friday and Saturday, and I think of Sunday as Sunday. Right after the family meeting, I found Red asleep in the laundry basket and carried him to my room, where I opened my new notebook and looked at the list of things that will not change. My parents had written, Mum loves you more than anything, always. Dad loves you more than anything, always. Mum and Dad love each other, but in a different way. You will always have a home with each of us. Your homes will never be far apart. We are still a family, but in a different way. After that, I carried the green spiral notebook everywhere. I asked a lot of questions. I used the green pen. Our first summer at the lake cabin without Mum, there was Mum-shaped reminders everywhere, like her blue sorry pieces and the chipped yellow bowls she always used for tomato salad. The Mum reminders were all over the place, but I was the only one who saw them. That summer, Dad explained to everyone at the cabin, Uncle Frank and Aunt Tess, and my cousins James, Angelica and Jojo, that he is gay. I always knew. My parents had told me at the one and only family meeting when they gave me the notebook. "Will you be gay forever now?" I asked Dad at the meeting. "Yes," he told me. He would always be attracted to some men the same way that men are attracted to some women. That's the way he felt since he was little. I uncapped my green pen and wrote it down right away on the list of things that will never change. It's number 9. Dad is gay. After Dad explained about being gay to everyone at the lake cabin, he asked if anyone had any questions. No one did. Then Dad and Uncle Frank walked down to the dock and sat with their feet in the water. I watched from the porch where I was sitting on the edge of Uncle Frank's favourite chair. After a while they stood up and jumped in the lake. They were splashing each other, just like little kids laughing. I remember being surprised because Uncle Frank never swims. He always says the water in the lake is too cold. Most of the time he sits on the porch in his chair in the sun. "So you live with your mum now?" my cousin James asked me that night in the sleeping loft. James is 4 years older than I am. I was 8 that first summer without Mum, so he was 12. I explained to him about the days of the week. When I was done, we got into our beds, and Angelica tickled my arm for a while. Usually I tickled her arm, and then she would say she was too tired to do mine. Right around then, James started calling me Ping Pong. He had really weird nicknames for his little sisters. He called Angelica BD, which was for bottom drawer, because she'd once stepped into an open dressing drawer to reach something on a top shelf and fallen over, cutting her leg. And James called Jojo Speakers, short for speakerphone, because when she was a baby she used to cry if she heard Uncle Frank's voice but couldn't see him anywhere. The names were kind of mean, but I had secretly wanted a James nickname for a long time. I couldn't remember doing anything ping pong related that James might be making fun of me for, but I don't care. I actually liked the name Ping Pong until Aunt S heard him. Okay, and then we're going to leave that extract there. There's 2 more pages and obviously a prologue. Okay, so straight away, some massive themes in this text. This is a text written for your ages in year 7 and stuff like that, and it's really good to have books like this. I know year 6 we've done loads of work on books that have very mature themes. Think about Once, which looked at World War II. We're looking at Wonder, which I read a few weeks ago on the Facebook page. Some of the year 5s and 6, so current year 6 when you were in year 5 and you worked with me doing Thornhill. It's really good to have these books that have got really strong themes that we can talk about and discuss. So, because that was quite a long extract, we're going straight onto the questions. Okay? So, in the first page, how does the author build up tension for the audience? Now, first page, I'm talking about the first bit of Angelica, this page 3 here. How does the author build up tension? Now, let me jump in straight away and say I don't want to see answers that are, he uses good words. Okay? If he uses vocabulary effectively, tell me exactly how and give me some examples. Okay? Tell me the way that the author builds up tension by making you think that something has happened. Okay? It's a really tricky question. Have a go anyway. Okay? That's number 1. Pause the video there and have a little go at your answer for me now. Off you go. Okay? Make sure you've got an answer for that. Even if you're not 100% sure, give it a go. See what happens. Number 2 says, look at page 5. What do you think the purpose of the list is? So we'll scroll down to page 5 where they give the list. So my prediction was kind of right. It wasn't the right context because I didn't think parents divorcing, but it was a list of things that weren't going to change. So what do you think the purpose of the list is? Because mum and dad gave her the list. So why do you think they gave her the list? Tricky question. What do you think the purpose of the list is? Pause the video there and write your answer down for me. And last question. We're only doing 3 questions today because actually I'm just happy that you're engaging in this book and you're having a little think about some of these more difficult themes in reading. You know, at the end of the day, this is why we read books, you know, because we learn from them and things like that. So I'm not going to overburden you with questions when it's been quite a heavy read today. Why did James give her the nickname Ping Pong? Why did she get the name Ping Pong? So if we go to the end of the page we were looking at, which I think was page 13. Oh no, sorry, it's 13 on my little thing. It's page 8. Look at page 8. Why did James give her the name Ping Pong? Our main character couldn't figure it out, but I wonder if you can. Okay. You should have all 3 answers now. If you've not, make sure you pause again and get all 3 of your answers written down. Okay, first one. In the first page, how does the author build up tension for the audience? Well, let's go straight back to the top again. So, let's just read the first chunk again. The summer I turned 10, my cousin Angelica fell from the sleeping loft at our family's lake cabin. Uncle Frank says her head missed the wood stove by 4 inches. She hit the floor with a bad sound, a whump. Then we didn't hear anything. No crying, no yelling, nothing. Until finally there was a sound of Angelica trying to breathe. How does the author build up tension? Well, I think there's 2 separate ways, okay? And you can have either one of these, all right? I think the first way that the author builds up tension, and when you get these kind of questions, these are the kind of things to look for, is by purposely being leaving out key details, keeping the audience guessing. Okay, now I would describe that in a different way by saying the author is being purposely vague. Now straight away he tells us that Angelica fell, but he doesn't say she was okay. He leaves that information. He says she fell. Uncle, what's his name? Frank? Yeah, Uncle Frank says she missed her head. She hit the floor with a bad sound. We didn't hear anything. No yelling, no crying, nothing, until finally there was the sound of Angelica trying to breathe. Yeah, it's not until here that they kind of even make reference to the fact that she is okay. So by purposely leaving that bit out, the author is making us think, oh, what's happened? Is she okay? And that builds tension. So if that's what you... skip the page. So if you've got an answer similar to that, okay, give it a tick. Write mine one down. If you really weren't sure, okay, you can write mine down as well. What we wouldn't want is something like they use good words or anything like that, okay? Number 2, look at page 5. What do you think the purpose of the list is? Well, the list, and you can see from the very, very first 2 points, it's to comfort B. I think B is what her name is. It doesn't really ever say specifically what her name is, but Dad calls her B, B-E-A. So we're going to go for that. It's to comfort B. What do you think the purpose of the list is? Mum and Dad have made it to comfort B, so she doesn't feel so bad in this awful time that she's going through. Okay? And finally, why did James give her the name Ping Pong? Now, some people I think would have got straight onto this, other people might have missed it. He gives her the name Ping Pong just after she describes how the system works of visiting her mum and dad. So if you go back up against that list, One day she's with mum, one day she's with dad. Mum, dad, mum, dad, mum, dad. Okay, and even when the cousin says, do you mind bouncing around like that? So he gives the name ping pong because he gives her the name ping pong because she is bouncing between her parents. Parents' houses probably, yeah. So she's never in one place. She keeps moving between the two different, like a ping pong ball going between two bats. Okay, so that's why he gives her the name ping pong. It is actually quite a cruel nickname, but it is clever how that's been come up with. Okay, and those are our answers to those questions. Some of those are really, really tricky questions for a really, really grown-up text, so well done for engaging really, really well today. Our summary, which is the thing I'm going to leave you to do by yourself. In the first chapter, this book tackles some big topics, like I've just said. Why is it important that there are books like this out there to take on challenging issues like this? So why is this book important? Why is Wonder important? Why is Once by Maurice Gleitzman important? Why is Thornhill important? All these books that I know some of my year sixes will know definitely. Why are all these books really important for younger readers to have? Okay, what is the point? I would love to hear some of your responses. Okay, thank you so much guys for engaging really, really well today. I will see you tomorrow for another bit of writing. Bye guys.